Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Thank you for signing on. First things first, please subscribe to this channel and watch all the videos that I upload. There will be plenty of videos for cooking and working out and just health and fitness in general. So today we are going to be making turkey chili. And I have my little helper with me today. I have my son Eric. He is almost 3 years old and he's going to help me put stuff in the pot. So, first things first is we are going to take a pound, 1 pound of ground turkey, and we are going to put it in a preheated pot that has olive oil in it, of course.
Fire in the pot.
So while our turkey is cooking in our pot, we are going to assemble our spices for our chili. So what we have here is 1 tablespoon of chili powder.
Good job, Mommy. Good job, Mommy.
Thank you, Eric.
Now use it.
Oh, okay. We are going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. We are going to use 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika.
Don't use it.
You're going to use 1 teaspoon of onion powder. I usually like granulated.
Yes, good job, Mommy.
We're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of ground coriander.
You need to use this? No, you don't know how to use this. We have it? We have it?
Not yet, baby. And 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin.
Good job, Mommy.
Okay. Next up, we have our salt. I always like to measure my salt not over my bowl because it's going to pour over. And I don't want all the extra salt in my mix. Alright, so I have 1 teaspoon. I use sea salt, so
Good job, Mommy.
1 teaspoon of sea salt
No.
and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Next step, after our ground turkey has been cooked thoroughly, I have put it into a separate bowl. You can definitely do these steps opposite if you want to.
Pull you down.
What we are going to do is we are going to take 1 green pepper, 1 orange pepper, and 1 onion, and we're going to dice them up. I usually like to do mine this way because all of the vegetable is going to be the same size and it takes a lot less time to cut it up. And being a mom of 2 boys, I definitely need all the time I can get. So we put some olive oil in the bottom of our pan that is nice and hot, and we just stick all of that in there. Alright, and here we go. We are also going to be putting in garlic. So I have the same little contraption, but for my garlic. I usually don't go by how many cloves. I usually just go by, okay, I'm just going to fill up this tray. So this one I think was about 5 cloves. Sometimes if they're smaller, it may take 6 or 7, but I just always fill up the tray. I really like garlic in my food, so if you don't like a very strong garlicky flavor, I would suggest maybe using 1 or 2 cloves of garlic. Here I have a good visual for you guys of the vegetables that are cooking right now. You want to keep a good stir on them because we do not want the bottom of them to become burnt. You will know that the vegetables are done whenever the onion becomes translucent, which also means you can almost see through it. So that's what we're looking for, and once that happens, then we will add the garlic. So now our onion is a bit more on the translucent side. We're going to add all of our garlic, The reason I wait to add my garlic is because garlic cooks very, very fast, and there's nothing worse than burnt garlic. Alright, so now that our garlic has cooked for a good 2 or 3 minutes in the pot, we are going to go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients, all except for one, and you will understand why when we get there. So the first thing that we are going to do is deglaze the bottom of our pot, which means it's going to get up all the flavor that has stuck on the bottom of our pot. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to use red wine. I am using 1 cup. Now, because we've put something cooler in our pot, we need to crank the heat up just a tad, because when you put something cooler in there, it's also going to cool everything else down, but we want to try and maintain our heat. So as it comes back up to its simmer, then you will turn the heat back down. So we're just going to stir this around for a little bit, and we will wait until it has reduced slightly. Alright, so we have let our wine simmer for just a little bit, and don't worry, because we're simmering it, it does cook the alcohol out. We're really just doing this for the flavor of the wine, which is really what we want. Alright, and we're going to take our spatula and really scrape the bottom and the sides, ensuring that we're getting all of that flavor that got stuck on the bottom of the pan back into the actual chili. So now what we're going to do is add some more ingredients. We're going to add 2 cans of petite diced tomatoes. I just have the Great Value brand. When I look for canned vegetables, the main thing that I do is look for the can that has the least amount of sugar in it. So it just so happened that with this one, it was the Great Value brand. And we're going to pour in juice and all. Please be careful when you're pouring this in. The wine is still simmering and it's hot, and I don't want it to splash up on you guys. So just be very careful when you're pouring it in, not to splash it on yourself, because it's scalding hot. Alright, and we're going to give that a good mix. On a side note, I did add 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper to our spice mix, just because I know my husband really does like some heat with his food, and I don't mind it either, so I went ahead and added that cayenne. Now we are going to add our ground turkey back into the mix. Remember, we cooked 1 pound of ground turkey. Put this over here. And now we're going to add 2 cans of light red kidney beans. This brand was Bush's. Like I said, I just always go by the nutritional facts whenever I buy my canned items. Alrighty. And last, but certainly not least at the moment, is our spice mix. And now we are going to give this a good stir. Now, because my pot is a cast iron, I have to grab my handle with a pot holder, or else I'm going to burn myself. So just make sure that we mix everything all up, make sure that spice is just incorporated everywhere, and we will get back to this in a minute. So we have had our chili simmer for about an hour now. I think I put it on a heat that was a little too high, so I would put it more at a low medium. So what I'm doing now is I'm adding a teaspoon of chicken bouillon and 1/2 cup of water, just to rehydrate it just a little bit, not too much. Alrighty, we get that mixed up. And the last thing that we are going to do is we are going to add 4 cups of spinach. Now, I know this isn't in your traditional chili, but when I'm cooking food, I cook on the healthier side, and I like to try and get a full serving of vegetables within my meal. So all we do, and I know this looks like a lot, but I promise you it wilts down so much that it's barely noticeable. And the great thing about spinach is that Spinach does not really have a very strong flavor, so when you're adding it to something, it's hard to detect it, and you can hide it easily other than the fact that it's green. So we're just going to mix this in, and you're going to let it sit in here for maybe like 2 minutes with the lid on. Go ahead and turn off the heat, and your chili will be done. So now that we have the spinach put in the pot and the lid on, I want to go over what is in this this chili. So whenever you portion it out onto a plate, there is going to be 8 servings about. So I would take about 1 cup, scoop it, and that would be a portion. And within that portion, you're going to get 1 serving of protein, 1 serving of vegetables, and 1 serving of carbs. So these carbs are coming from the beans that we put in. The protein is coming from the turkey, and the vegetables, of course, is from all of the onion, the pepper, the garlic, and the spinach that we put in. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Chef Steph, and I hope to see you in my kitchen again.